Labor is also known as parturition. It is a process which starts with irregular, painful uterine contractions that cause progressive dilatation and effacement of the cervix, thus leading to delivery of the fetus and the placenta. A fully term pregnancy starts from 37 to 40 weeks and in some cases 37 to 42 weeks. In the third trimester, before labor starts, the mucus plug called bloody shoe that blocks the cervical opening is discharged into the vagina. Sometimes, losing a mucus plug happens days or weeks before labor starts. Sometimes, the amniotic sac might rupture. Either of these indicate true labor. However, these have to be distinguished from a mild and ineffective contraction called forced labor or Braxton Hicks contractions. Once it starts, true labor progresses in frequency, duration, and intensity. The contractions falls on the thick tissue of the cervix, causing it to efface or get thinner and also dilate. Only about 15 to 20% of women will experience water breaking before going into labor. From the moment true labor begins to delivery, usually takes about 12 to 18 hours for the first time pregnancy, and it takes about 6 to 9 hours for subsequent pregnancies. Labor can be classified into three stages: first stage, second stage, and third stage. Now, let me simplify it. First stage is divided into two phases. The first phase is known as early or latent phase, which usually lasts up to 20 hours until the cervix dilates to about 4 to 6 cm. At first, there are irregular contractions which occur every 5 to 30 minutes, lasting about 30 seconds, causing the cervix to dilate from 0 to 3 cm and emphase from about 0% to 30%, which is followed with regular contractions, which happens every 3 to 5 minutes and lasts about 1 minute or more. And this causes the cervix to dilate to about 3 to 6 cm and emphase to about 80%. This marks the beginning of active phase of labor, during which the cervix dilates to about 6 to 10 cm and emphasis to 100%. At this phase, contractions are very intense, lasting about 60 to 90 seconds, each with only 30 seconds to 20 minutes of rest in between. Also, amniotic sac have to be ruptured at this point if it hasn't been ruptured. Once the cervix is fully dilated, we enter into the second stage of labor. At this stage, the fetus head moves down to maternal pelvis, and this depends on the three P's: the par, the passenger, and the passage. Par refers to forceful contractions. Passenger refers to the fetus. Passage refers to the route the fetus has to travel through to the boning pelvis. Let's consider few factors that determine how easy the passage is for the fetus. 1. The fetus size. One critical factor is the size of the fetus head. 2. Also, there is fetal altitude, which refers to the way our fetus body is flexed. I'm not talking about personality here. When labor begins, the fetus body is normally fully flexed, which means the chin on the chest, rounded back, and flexed arm and legs. In this position, the smallest diameter, which is referred to as suboccipitopragmatic diameter, present at the pelvic inlet. Larger fetuses and those who are not completely flexed have more difficulty in making it through the passage. 3 is the fetal eye. This describes how the fetus is positioned in the uterus. A longitudinal fetal eye is the ID, where the fetus long axis, that is the spine, is parallel to the mother's lung axis. The fetus can also be transverse-like. In this position, the baby's head is on one side of the mother's body, and the feet are on the other side, making it difficult for a vaginal delivery. Or it can be oblique, in which the fetus is positioned diagonally in the uterus, with the head pointing towards one of the mother's hips and the feet towards the opposite side. Both oblique and transverse-like are not ideal and will hinder the progression of labor. 4. Fetal presentation, that is the presenting part. Cephalate is the first part, which means the fetus is presenting with the head first. This is the most common and ideal presentation for easy delivery. Cephalic presentation can either be vertex, which is the most ideal. It indicates flexion of head. Face presentation, which means fetus face is presenting first. Brow presentation, forehead is presenting first. Chin presentation, chin is presenting first. Breech presentation refers to a fetal position where the fetus buttocks or feet are positioned to be born first. It can either be frank, footling, complete breech. Shoulder presentation, shoulder presenting first. To make it through the passage, the fetus makes several positional changes, which is called cardinal movements of labor. There is downward movement of the fetus to the pelvic inlet, called the descent. The degree of descent is called fetal station. This type of fetal descent is measured in terms of the degree to which the presenting part of the fetus has descended into the pelvis. This falls into 3 stages. Early descent. The fetus begins to move down into the pelvis, but the presenting part is still above the ischial spine. The fetal station is about -3 to -1. Another type of descent that we are having is active descent. The fetus moves down through the pelvis, with the presenting part reaching the level of the ischial spine. It is called engagement at this period. There is also flexion and internal rotation, in which the fetal shoulder internally rotates to about 45 degrees and then descending further. Fetal station is about +1 to +3. Another one is final descent. The presented part reaches the vaginal opening and crowning occurs. After the fetus head passes through the symphysis pubis, there is an extension, in which fetus head will change from flexion to extension and emerge from vagina. Fetal station is about +4 to +5 at this period. After the delivery of the head, there is restitution, with the head externally rotates so the shoulder can pass through the pelvis outlet. Finally, at this stage, there is an expulsion where the anterior shoulder slips at the symphysis pubis, followed by posterior shoulder, and followed by the rest of the body, which ends the second stage of labor. Third stage of labor commences immediately after the baby has been delivered. The uterus contracts and the placenta begins to separate from the uterine wall, and it must be carefully removed to ensure there are no placental remnants in the uterus. Your healthcare provider will also examine the placenta to ensure it is intact, because any remaining fragments must be removed from the uterus to prevent bleeding. Your vagina will also be examined for any tears, and if there is tears, it will be sutured. Sometimes several hours after delivery is referred to as the first stage of labor. There are various physiological changes going on during this period, such as adaptation to blood loss and the start of uterine involution. In summary, the first stage of labor starts with true contraction and ends with the cervix fully emphased and dilated. Second stage is the pushing stage, which ends with the birth of the baby. The third stage ends with the delivery of the placenta. Thank you for joining me on this journey. through the incredible process of pregnancy, labor, and birth. It is a story of courage, endurance, and life itself. Remember, knowledge is your greatest ally, and every step you take to prepare brings you closer to the positive experience. If you enjoyed this video, kindly hit this like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more empowering content. Let's keep the conversation going. Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and remember, every moment of labor brings you closer to the greatest gift of all, which is new life.